Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Gotta use this mic today. Alright, so we are talking about pH. pH is really important in cannabis growing for a few different reasons. One, your plants need a proper pH for them to actually be able to take up the nutrients, right? And now, really, what's going on is the microbes are eating the nutrients that you're providing, and then the microbes are feeding the plants. Okay? Now, pH for cannabis ranges from 5.5 to 6.5, which means that pretty much any pH in that range is going to be okay. Not going to be necessarily the most ideal. That would depend on what time of the grow that you're actually setting your pH at what level, okay? So earlier in the grow, personally, being more of a DWC style grower. Now, I'm not growing in DWC right now, I'm growing in cocoa, but I still take a lot of the learnings that I gained from a lot of growing in DWC in the past into the current day. Now, pH being very important, especially in DWC, I like to set my pH for vegetative stage at about 5.8 to 6.0. Once I start flowering, 6.1. Then once you're in mid to late flowering, you can get up to about 6.4 or 6.5. And that will help to ease the plant into senescence. Now, along with that, you may want to dial back your nutrient regimen just a hair for the end, and then depending on what nutrients you're using, you may need to do a flush. Depending on what nutrients you are using, you may need to do a flush for anywhere from 3 days, 1 day, up to 2 weeks. So, keep that in mind. But that being said, as long as your pH is around 5.5 to 6.5, your plants should be able to uptake some nutrients. Now, certain nutrients are taken up better by the plant in certain pH ranges. So if you're having deficiencies, you may need to look at that and say, oh, okay, what's the deficiency range that, my plant would not like for this particular nutrient? And diagnose and then go from there to make your proper adjustments to get your pH in range. If you are getting a runoff pH, which is off from what you're feeding, and some people will say don't worry about the pH from the runoff. Me personally, I like my pH to be in balance in my medium. So if your pH is off, what you can do is flush your plant. Now, when I say flush, I do not mean take regular water, RO, or tap, and just give it to the plant. No, that's not what you want to do to flush. To flush, you want to feed the plant at the same time. So you're pushing excess out at the same time as replenishing what was taken by the plant already, right? Okay, so again, pH very, very important. If you have improper pH on your outflow, that can be a good indicator of needing to make some pH adjustments. Either that or needing to, like I said, flush. The best flush that you can do if you're wanting to not use any nutrients, like let's say you're in the maybe the second week and you're just not wanting to use very many nutrients. Second week of flower, it's going okay, you're just fine, and you're just wanting to maybe get unlocked, okay? And pH comes into play with unlocking as well, which we've talked about, and you can see that in one of my other videos. But ultimately, you want to make sure that pH is stable. Now, stable means that when you feed it, it's coming out the same pH that you fed in. Your nutrient regimen can fluctuate your pH depending on what nutrients you're using and how old they are. If they're falling out of the solution, if you would, then you want to make sure that you get the new nutrients so that they're not falling out as quickly. That being said, they can always fall out after a certain period of time if they're not used. One way that you can prevent that is to add oxygen or just air, to the water by an air pump. Just put a little air stone down in your water reservoir. That will keep your water from going stagnant or bad, if you would. And that's also how you brew teas, is by putting a air stone down into a bucket with your tea that you wanted to brew and just let it set for 24 to 48, 72, however many hours you wanted to brew. I'm not sure, depending on the brew, probably more than anything else. I don't really do a whole lot of teas, but I've seen a lot of people do it in the past, so that's my take on it. But anyways, thank you very much. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And hope you guys have a fantastic holiday. Make sure to check out reefermadness-genetics.net or qsseeds.com to obtain our seeds from our vendor. Appreciate you. Take care. Peace.